open house. Now, despite the dreaded lurgy, I have survived another 24 hours, but I really hope that you can stay with us for the next hour or so, because we have a cracking programme lined up for you today, even though I say so myself. Joining us in a moment, the EastEnder, who has now got a touch of sunburn, that's actress Michelle Collins. Also today, we'll be meeting two fantastic singers from opposite sides of the Atlantic, from the home of soul music in Detroit. We have Mary Wilson, founder member of the legendary Motown stars, the Supremes, and then from Paris, the voice of romance, singer and songwriter Charles Aznavour. But our first guest has proved that there really is life after the soap opera. Although she made her name as EastEnders' most notorious femme fatale, Cindy Beale, she's gone on to enjoy great success in a host of hit drama series, such as Real Women, Daylight Robbery, and, of course, Sunburn. But as an ambassador for Oxfam's Education Now campaign, she has swapped Albert Square for the troubled streets of Brazil in an effort to raise awareness of the plight of vulnerable street children. So here to tell us about her campaign and everything else that's happening in her life, will you give a huge welcome to Michelle Collins. Michelle, that people believe, I think, for television, that you're sitting for hours and hours getting ready. You and I were in makeup up till about 30 seconds
2 minutes ago.
So, how are you?
I'm all right now. I'm sitting down.
I know, because you were out filming until about 6 o'clock this morning or something.
Yes, I'm not going to look in that monitor because my eyes are still a bit... No, I was filming till 6:15 this morning, yeah. Wow.
So what's that for, a one-off drama?
It's a thing I'm doing for the BBC for Christmas. It's called The Sleeper, and it's sort of one of these sort of thriller chillers. It's directed by the same man that did The Sculptress. Don't know if you know Pauline Quirk,
I know of it, yeah.
Which was fantastic. So no, it's great.
It's ironic being called The Sleeper and you're getting no sleep at all at the moment.
I know. And Arlene Atkins is in that, who's great. Elizabeth Spriggs, so it's a great cast. George Cole.
Yes, strong cast.
Yeah.
It's funny, I was saying about EastEnders, your life after the soap. I think a lot of people leave soaps and think, this is going to be fantastic. I've had all the security of that and all the fame and notoriety of it. Now I'll just sail on to other things. Now, in your case, you have. But you must have been a bit worried because you've sort of been in and out of the series a few times.
Yes, and when I finally left, I had Maya, and I went back after about a year, and I went back for 6 months, and it was my decision to leave because I'd had a taste of going out with Real Women, and I had no work for about 3 months, and I was terribly worried, and but then Sunburn came up, and it seems you know. Touch wood, it's all going okay. Very
good. And, of course, great to get a job called Sunburn where you're away abroad filming all the time.
I know, yes, it was fantastic. I had 4 months this year in Portugal and 3 months in Cyprus last year. Terrible,
died and gone to heaven, basically. Let's have a look at you in EastEnders. And, as usual, there's a bit of a head-on collision here.
Right. I don't believe this. You're a treacherous cow, you are. You what?
Oh, please don't start with this again.
I just can't believe you tried that.
Tried what?
You know what? Trying to get to Ian when he's feeling vulnerable.
I am allowed to speak to my own son, you know.
Did you really think you could get away with it? You must think he's a right idiot.
Oh, don't listen to her, Ian. She's obviously flipped her lid again.
But 1 minute you're second, the next minute you're trying to wheedle your way in with him.
We were just having a chat. Yeah, you should try it sometime. I take it you can put 2 words together without one of them being an insult.
I bet you couldn't wait to start rushing over here, could you? Think you could catch Ian off guard?
A very young...
What a little madam.
Eh? And the young Ian, he looks like 12 there, doesn't he?
Doesn't he? And Julie as well. I'm so glad I'm not playing characters like her anymore.
Were you glad in the end to get away from it?
Yeah, it was a long time, and, you know, it's nice to play nice characters for a change. Actually, in the Christmas thing, I'm playing a bit of a bad girl, but generally my characters are, you know, a bit more likeable than Cindy.
How do you think you've changed? Because you've got a gorgeous little daughter now of, what's she, 3.5 now?
Yes.
How do you think you've changed as an individual? Are you more confident now, more secure?
I'm still insecure. I mean, I think in this business, it's such a terribly insecure business. I mean, you know that. But I think I've just matured as a person. I've become a mother. I'm a lot more calmer. I think a better person. I think age does that to you as well, and also being a mother.
But also, I would have thought, when I heard, actually, that you'd gone to Brazil with Oxfam, I would have thought that having a little child of your own and then seeing that awful poverty on the streets involving children, it must bring it really home to you even more.
Oh, completely. It was... I didn't know what to expect, and it was such an eye-opener. Oh, yeah, and being a mother. And even if you weren't a mother, it would have definitely struck a chord, you know.
So paint the scene for me. Were you shocked when you saw some of the...
Yes, I
scenes
mean,
in
I'm
the
not
street?
sure what footage or... but basically, the idea was we went out there to visit the project centres, which Oxfam have helped to set up. And I visited some street kids, because there's between 4 to 6 million kids living on the streets in Brazil.
4 to 6 million
4 to 6 million.
living on the street.
Yeah, I mean, the population of Brazil is something like 170 million, and a quarter of them live in poverty. I mean, people just don't think it's that bad. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought Brazil was like, you know, Carnival, Rio, that type of thing. But it is...
And is it true that the children there, of course, are in danger from the government itself, from the state?
There are vigilante squads that actually go round and basically eradicate these kids. You know, I went to one place...
On what basis do they have that?
Because they're just vermin. They're just bad for business in every way. And they literally do live on the streets. You know, they live in cardboard boxes. And people come around. You can hire an assassin for like $150 to go and kill these kids. Most of them are glue sniffing, because it's so cheap. I mean, you can buy sort of a little bottle of glue for like £1. And Oxfam have helped set up a centre, which is like a farm, which is a detox clinic. You know, to see kids who are like 5 and 6, it's just heartbreaking.
So do these vigilantes, they operate then separate to any kind of state or government body? Were they just
I mean, who
a
are
pack
we
of
to say?
individuals?
They are possibly ex-policemen, they're businessmen, part of the government. You know, so who knows? But it's going on.
Well, in this case, in this film that we have, I mean, this is actually at a school, so we don't see just as much, of course, of the street in this case. So
it might be.
Is this a good news story?
I think this might be a refuge. There's a refuge centre which they set up for young girls who are victims of multiple rapes, domestic abuse, physical abuse. And basically the whole trip is to sort of, you know, through education, is to help these people. You know, they don't get the chance to go to school. Something like 120 million kids in the world don't see the inside of a school and don't even have the chance to.
Well, let's have a look at the clip of film.
One of the conditions of coming here is that the girls have to go to school. But the irony is that sometimes they're prevented from going, even when they want to. One girl can't go to school simply because she hasn't got a birth certificate. In Brazil, if you don't officially exist, then you simply don't get the chance to learn to read or write. I miss my little girl's kisses like that. Oh, yeah. In England, we say cheese.
Sweet children, aren't they? Do you think it does a lot of good when you have a personality-led campaign, when someone like yourself
Definitely.
goes to?
I mean, unfortunately, you know, that's the way it is at the moment, and I think it does. And you know, we've raised a lot of money. I mean, the documentary hasn't even been on, but just through media attention, we have raised a lot of money. And you know, Tony Blair is now setting up and taking note.
So the
yes,
money is to be used for education,
it's all part of the education fund,
yes.
And obviously not just these, you know, because Oxfam helps worldwide. So I'd like to think it does, yes. And I'm also putting on my own event because I felt so strongly about it and was so sort of moved and felt quite sort of desensitised about it all when I got back, and then sort of thought, what can I do? What can I do myself? And so I've decided to put on this event which is called Brazil Nuts. And it's on Sunday, April the 9th, and it's a charity fashion show, but everyone has to wear Oxfam clothes. Sorry.
Oh, right.
But they're styled by a really good fashion stylist, a friend of mine called David Thomas. And,
actually, that's a very good idea, because the Oxfam
is.
shops are very prevalent in this country.
Yeah, and you can get some great. And also, you know, they make about 17 million in the shops, just alone in the Oxfam shops.
That's great.
So,
Do you know what you should do, actually? You should pick out some of the clothes and bring them in here one day. We'll have a fashion show right here in the house.
It's a great idea, because you can get some really fantastic clothes. We're all wearing Oxfam clothes that day. Then we've got an auction. We've got Jonathan Ross helping with the auction. And then we've got a charity karaoke, where people have to pay, or we pay them not to sing, whatever.
Will you be up singing?
I'll have to, won't I,
Actually,
really?
what was the backing group that you were in once?
Well, I thought it was the one you had on today. Mary Wilson and the Wilsations I was with, but you've got Mary Wilson, haven't you, on
We
from the
have,
Supremes?
absolutely.
But she, Mary Wilson is...
She had the big beehive, didn't she?
That's right, but she's playing Dusty Springfield in the tour, so you should have her on. She's got a fantastic voice.
Right.
Yes.
So did you have to wear that big beehive wig
I
and
did,
everything?
but I had a little blister, and she had a huge one. I wasn't allowed to. So,
I remember she had to travel around, actually, with her head out through the sunroof.
That's right, because it was so huge. It was like that.
So did you like all that
Until they had enough money to buy her a beehive, so she just used to stick it on.
So did you like all that do-wop business?
Oh, it was fab. You know, I was 19 years old, 20, and we travelled around in a transit van with 9 blokes.
Oh,
so it was all right.
Tell you what, you've had moments in your career, haven't you, Michelle?
Yes, I certainly I've been up and down, yes.
Well, on that score, I
shouldn't say that, should I? Anyway, it's Sunday, April the 9th. Can I give a number in case anyone wants to buy any tickets? Just
no,
quickly?
I tell you what, if you can phone our number, we'll give your number. Is that a good idea?
That's
Otherwise,
fine.
it gets very confusing if a lot of people have
But there are still tickets available. If anyone would like to come, it's at the Sugar Reef on Sunday, April the 9th, and we want to raise loads and loads of money for
Fantastic.
Oxfam.
And what we'll do is put it on our 5 text.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Hope you have a lovely time. So you're back out filming then overnight tonight again?
I'm going to Devon on Friday, then I'm finished, and I've got a month off, and then I go to America to film Daylight Robbery.
Wow. I'm amazed you found time to come here today.
So, you know, I'm not doing this Oxfam thing for myself, totally. I'm really
not.
I'm really doing it because I feel so passionate about it.
Well, Michelle, thank you so much for coming today to talk to us.
Thank
Michelle
you for having me.
Thank you. Now, coming up, if you have been absolutely horrified by the news this week that your endowment mortgage might be worth much, much less than you thought, and that ultimately that situation will put your home at risk. It's a funny old situation these days. Then I know that you'll be interested in our money expert right after the break. Adam Shaw will be here with some very sound financial advice. And then in the kitchen, Anne Stir combines some very tasty tomatoes with a certain little je ne sais quoi for today's recipe. So we'll find out after the break. See you then.
Can I hand over to